Today, we look at the deluxe aerial vehicles, where the comparisons get complicated. And to those who think this will be a clean-cut victory for the Combatrons, based on Part 1, not quite. Most know that G1 Blastoff is a shuttle. For Combiner Wars, he's a repaint of the Firefly Quickslinger mold, and thus is now a fighter jet. Hey, it's the military. While not my favourite deco this mold has gotten, I still like the mud brown, different shades of purple and, in robot mode, the yellow combo we've got going here. Funnily enough, this Blastoff has the same wing stripes as Quickslinger, just in silver and purple. You have your usual undercarriage junk, but it's the more streamlined of the two deluxe aerial bot molds, so good choice for a repaint. The jet displays fine as is, though you do have this deployable / retractable nose wheel. His armament, redecos of Fireflies, can only plug underneath the wings. Being an aerial bot repaint, the robot feels very sleek and aerodynamic. Doesn't quite fit Blastoff, but looks good in and of itself. Same can be said for the head. It's a great sculpt, but it's Quickslingers, not Fireflies, which actually has a mouthplate. You have your standard Combiner Wars deluxe articulation. No ankle tilts, but he still poses fine, even with the weapons stored on his back. For the record, the actual weapon detailing differs between each Combiner piece, excluding repaints. To me, this Blastoff falls in the same camp as the solo release of Scattershot. A fine standalone toy, but as mold reuses go, more could have been done with this. At least this isn't as lazy of a repaint. As mentioned previously, the Combaticons were also released in Unite Warriors, where Blastoff received a brand new mold complete with a shuttle mode, which for the Combatrons has been recolored into Shuttler. Done in black and white, as he should be, though he lacks the re-entry burns of his original toy. Form-wise, Shuttler looks okay, though I bet you can't guess where his arms are hiding. Okay, there are thrusters molded on the back. Maybe I'm too accustomed to NASA's, but the shuttle comes across as very stylized. The body is squatter yet wider than normal, the thrusters are spread out, and the purple cockpit windows and tail fin are further forward. It just looks off to me. What do I know? Shuttler's weapons are repaints of Unite Warriors Blastoffs and Scrappers, with a total of 9 ports for storage. Pegged underneath, part of the white gun acts as a nose wheel, though I personally display Shuttler on one of Baldigus's feet like a flight stand, uneven as it looks. I understand you can remove Blastoff's tail fin halves and peg them on his back to match his show model. It doesn't work for Shuttler since his upper body transforms backwards so that he retains his orange body. Despite the hype for Takara's Blastoff, when you think about it, the robot design really doesn't stand out that much. While not a retool, this has a lot of familiar engineering, such as Rook's leg transformation, and in Shuttler's case, the cockpit folds behind him like the aerial bots. Don't get me wrong, it's still cool Takara did this at all. I'm just saying compared to other Combiner Wars Deluxes, it might not be the same mold, but it's a similar experience. That being said, it's still a fine robot mode. Articulation's pretty good, made even better by his large footprint, like the Rook mold. Heck, one thing Shuttler does better than Rook is he can wield some weapons handheld, while others peg onto his knuckles as if they replace the hands, like in most Transformers cartoons. Rook can only do the latter. It's that one touch, along with the posability, that puts this ahead of Hasbro's Blastoff in terms of play value. On the flip side, I like the look of Hasbro's Blastoff in both modes, whereas I'm not too fond of this shuttle design. And as Shuttler, the deco feels incomplete. Plus, it's not like the Firefly mold is bad to begin with. So conflicted. Call it a tie. I gotta admit, Hasbro and Takara really planned ahead with some of these toys. They tried to pass this off as a civilian, rescue, and military helicopter with minimal retooling. Vortex marks the third use of the Alpha Bravo mold, and he looks pretty good. True, you can make out his arms, though from certain angles the molded rockets mitigate that somewhat. Despite said rockets, you could argue the body fits Alpha Bravo and Blades better. It's very streamlined and lacks the bulk and all-around threatening presence most military copters have. Maybe retool the front into that of an Apache with a little nose gun? Just a thought. As for the deco, I actually prefer this to the Japanese version due to a greater variety of colour, though it's not as obvious here. It probably would have helped if... Cheers. You have your functioning rotor, 3 ports for weapon storage, and similar to Shuttler, I use the combiner piece as a flight stand. The mold transforms similar to the aerial bots, except back to front. The tail section forms a backpack. The rotor blades don't lock anywhere, so I tuck them between these tail fins and raise the base just a little so they stay put. Vortex uses the Alpha Bravo head, which unlike Hasbro's Blastoff was meant to be Vortex from the start. And since this is the US version, the body is painted to match the Generation 1 toy with the yellow, red, purple, and blue-green. Garish? I don't know, the shade of each colour seems muted to me. Articulation's run-of-the-mill, and you can position this tail fin how you wish, to help him stand out further from the countless redecos/retools of this mold. Both weapons are repaints of Alpha Bravos, and can only be handheld, the other ports are blocked. Hepta meanwhile replaces the combiner piece with Unite Warrior's Mixmaster's gun. While the figure's deco is accurate, and I like the metallic paint apps, I don't care for how the missiles are blue like the rest of him. As for the main colours, blue and orange are complementary. Blue and red? Okay. Red and orange, we've seen enough on Hot Rod. All 3? It's growing on me, but it's still not my favourite combo in the world. I question my taste sometimes. Hepta specifically reuses Takara's Vortex, which was retooled with quadruple rotor blades. It matches both characters, and is also this toy's biggest downfall. There's no swivel or some other joint to help collapse the blades like on Movie Blackout, resulting in a cluttered mess in robot and leg modes. Not so much the arm mode, and I'll get to why. Against Takara's Vortex, Hepta will probably win since the robot deco is at least eye-catching, but Hasbro's Vortex, which lacks the rotor issue? Next time, we conclude with the team leaders, along with the big brutes themselves.